And we're off. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the All Dolphins podcast, live post-game reaction, breakdown, analysis, recap, all that good stuff of the Miami Dolphins 24-17 victory against the Detroit Lions at Ford Field on Saturday afternoon. Before I do anything else, because apparently this is important to some Dolphin fans who listened to the interview I did with my Detroit Lions on SI colleague, John Macaroon, who some of his comments didn't go over well with Dolphin fans who thought he was too much of a homer, not giving the Dolphins credit. So for you, John, there we go. Okay, that's on behalf of Dolphin fans. Okay, as always, by the way, this is the part where I introduced Dante Collinelli, Deputy Editor of Miami Dolphins on SI. Dante, how are you?
Doing great. Happy to be here.
Okay, quick broad strokes of what you saw. Give me like 3 quick reactions. What stood out to you?
Yeah, I think depth on the defensive line popped generally. Thought you saw a good rotation of guys there. Wide receiver depth looked great. A lot of impact plays from different players in that group. And I think on the kind of bad side of things, sloppy operationally for both sides. A ton of penalties in this game. Dolphins less than Detroit, but still a lot. So bit sloppy on the operations, but I thought you saw some position groups stand out.
Yeah, I agree. Particularly in the first half, it was like, I think at one point I tweeted out like something about this and the NFL. Oh, for the officiating, they were like doing some crappy stuff, and then also a lot of flags and all that. Before we go further, this is the part where I ask you to please like, subscribe if you don't already do so, share, and then when we do a taped All Dolphins podcast, check it out on all audio platforms. And most importantly, thanks for joining us. In terms of the news, immediately we should say that Zach Sealer and Devon Achane, who did not participate in the joint practice on Thursday, Mike McDaniel was asked about their status after the game, said it's somewhere between days and weeks. So what that means exactly, who knows? Ethan Bonner left the game in the first half with an apparent leg injury while covering Tom Kennedy across the field. At one point, he kind of took like a bad step. Immediately looked at the sideline, gave a sign of like somebody needs to come in for me. I could have sworn I saw him kind of touch his right knee. Don't know the status. Don't want to speculate. I'm just telling you what I observed. And of course, this is all the Dolphins need right now, right? Because as I indicated in Miami Dolphins on SI.com and on the podcast, this was a guy who was making a move, and he was the one who started opposite Storm Duck against the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, it's the last thing you need, right? Like Ethan Bonner, not a proven player per se, but had been having a somewhat decent camp, had a nice play against Chicago, got the nod as the starter today in a game where, they sat the most of the assumed starters. So you have to think that there was a lot of conscious thought put into who was on the field first at cornerback. So really, really tough blow for the Dolphins in general, but also for Ethan Bonner, a guy who's really, seemed like he's coming into his own. I think on the story that we have on the site, I wrote that he played like 27 total snaps the past 2 years. This was a really good opportunity for him personally to let his career take off. So hopefully it's nothing, too extensive.
No, without question. And again, if you look at the list of players who didn't play as per McDaniel before practice on Thursday, he was going to keep out most of the starters. I think the only ones I saw were Jonas Savainai on offense, Kenneth Grant, if you want to consider him a starter, even though the Dolphins opened with 2 pure interior defensive linemen against Chicago, and he wasn't one of them. Benito Jones also was out there. And then Storm Duck was out there. None of the cornerbacks sat other than Mike Hilton, which kind of was interesting to me because I'm not seeing him in terms of getting involved in the rotation defensively. Not seeing a ton from him, so I don't know exactly where he stands. I would think the Dolphins know what he can do, but that's a little bit weird. And then along with the starters, it was interesting to me that along with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle sitting among the wide receivers, Malik Washington, which made sense. He's making the team, but also Nick Westbrook-Ikine, which tells you he's on the roster, which means there's a spot for room for maybe 1 or 2 other wide receivers. And D. Eskridge to me was a guy who kind of like, if he didn't already have a spot on the roster, clinched it or came close to clinching it with the way he looked in this game.
Yeah, I mean he's what they want at receiver, right? Generally speaking, small, fast, explosive, good with the ball in his hands. They had that really nice catch in the corner of the end zone and joint practices on Thursday. Made a couple really explosive plays in the game. Had that bubble screen that converted that third down. Caught the touchdown pass from Zach Wilson, the first score of the game. He did muff a punt, but kind of made up for it. Made a couple plays after that, right? So not perfect, but I think I agree with you that he's probably the fifth receiver. I think it comes down to, do they keep a sixth? Not sure.
And if they do keep a sixth, one guy who's really involved in that competition, which to me would be between Taj Washington and Eric Azukama, I made it a point to say it on Twitter and in my halftime observations on that bubble screen. Taj Washington had the key block right at the point where he caught the ball, pushed out the DB, and that allowed Eskridge the path to get down to the 10-yard line. Yeah, I didn't like the way he held the ball on that punt return. It was kind of loose. Better ball security would be needed. But again, he came back from it and made a lot of plays. Theo Weiss Jr. made plays up the wazoo again. And him and Quinn Ewers have that thing going, I mean, like this.
Yeah.
And as we've seen that throughout training camp, still don't see a universe where Theo Weiss Jr. makes the 53. My guess is going to wind up on the practice squad unless some team claims him off waivers. And this is what I noticed in practice on Wednesday in the joint practice in Detroit, and it wasn't just him. He wasn't getting open. And what I've observed from him is he's not particularly fast or quick, but he does know how to run routes and he catches the ball.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big-bodied guy, right? Like he's a physical player who's going to win some contested situations for you. I think you saw that on the touchdown where Quinn kind of rolled out to his left, and you kind of saw Theo Weiss just stick a hip into the corner and create the throwing window, right? Nice little chemistry there. So that's what you're going to get out of Theo. I mean, I think they're going to try to pass him through waivers on the practice squad. The guaranteed money that he got is basically a full season of practice squad checks, roughly. So they're going to try to keep him around. We'll see if another team attempts to snap him up, but cool player, right? Like stylistically, if Nick Westbrook-Akine gets hurt during the season, I think you give Theo Weiss the call up there and try to work him in some of those situations that they would intend to use Westbrook-Akine in.
Yeah, and to me, among the rookie free agent wide receivers the Dolphins brought in, and I don't know why my internet is like freezing me every once in a while. Maybe because I have 73 tabs open. For which my lovely wife would chide me, and sorry, I still do it because I'm a bad boy. And in fact, as I continue talking, I'm going to close a lot of these windows. Hopefully, I won't close the one I'm using right now to do this, because that would not be good. Anyway, Dolphins signed 4 rookie free agent wide receivers, and to me, Theo Weiss Jr. has been far and away the best one, and the other 3 were Monterey Baldwin, who's already been waived, Andrew Armstrong, who's had his moments, and he's kind of similar in skill set to Weiss, to me, just not quite as good. And then A.J. Henning, who we saw with some really nice returns today, except he muffed a punt. And he also muffed a punt in the joint practice against the Bears. And if you're a punt returner, that's no bueno. So I could see a scenario where maybe Henning, they keep him on the practice squad as well. Again, he's got to clear waivers, but we shall see. Okay, now let's bounce over to the quarterbacks. Your thoughts on Ewers and Zach Wilson?
I thought both guys were better than they were last week, generally speaking.
Low bar.
Yeah, low bar, but I thought both guys were better, which we'll take it, right? Like, sure. I thought Quinn was the better quarterback today by a fair margin. We can kind of argue over, Quinn's playing against the 3s versus playing against the 2s, like whatever. I think for me, and I'll get a better look at this when the tape comes out tomorrow, Quinn just looked a lot more comfortable than he did last week, but he also just looked more comfortable than Zach Wilson in general, just like operating from the pocket, his footwork, where his eyes were, how he went through progression. Zach, to me, just looks really uncomfortable playing football right now. Everything with him is very stagnant. It's very, he's not quickly getting through his progressions. He's not pulling the trigger. His eyes aren't in the right place. But I think you saw improvement from both. And at this point, I think that's all you can ask for. I am not remotely optimistic about the backup quarterback spot still. I don't know that there's anything that these guys could do to change my mind on that until we get to the regular season and they're thrust into action. But I would prefer that we just don't see them this year, but improvement nonetheless.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, obviously we'd prefer not to see them because I think it's pretty obvious. Two is a clear and the clear number one. But I tweeted this, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I think the Dolphins' backup quarterbacks are better than the Lions' backup quarterbacks, Kyle Allen and Hendon Hooker. And I don't know that it's close. I've seen Kyle Allen play now for a while, and it's like, yeah, no. And Hendon Hooker, who I like coming out of Tennessee, to me, there's like no feel for the NFL passing game. And I mean, he's good when he takes off scrambling, but outside of that, I mean, he's got to throw.
Yeah, I've never been a Hendon Hooker guy. I thought Kyle Allen was the best quarterback on the field today just by how he played.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know that he's actually better than Zach Wilson and Quinn Ewers, but I thought him and Quinn were 1 and 2 today by a fair margin.
See, you hated Zach's work a lot more than I did. My issue with Zach, I thought he was like eons more comfortable. He looked eons more comfortable in Chicago, where he looked like extraordinarily hesitant. There's still a couple of times maybe it doesn't get out as quickly or he doesn't set his feet as properly. I hated the fact that he missed the Eskridge when Eskridge got behind the Detroit secondary. I didn't like the throw in the end zone to, was it Tariq Black coming across? That to me looked like a fairly easy throw.
Yep.
But outside of that, I thought he was okay.
Yeah, I mean, outside of missing 2 open touchdowns and almost throwing a pick 6, he was great. Yeah, he was better than he was in Chicago, right? Like,
what was the pick 6? I thought that was yours. The pick 6, the pass.
They both had one. They both had an undercut.
I remember. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Was about to say. Yeah, no, I thought it was better. And then the more I look at Quinn Ewers and the more I see Tua playing quarterback, like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like I want to say a miniature Tua, but like a less polished Tua, because the skill set the same. He throws his best passes over the middle, and it's all about touch, not necessarily firing the ball in there. And that's what we saw on the 2 touchdown passes. The TOEs. I know the Lions had 1 or 2 touchdown passes, and on one of them, Cornell Armstrong, great coverage. But dude, you got to play the ball better than that. I mean,
he just got bullied at the end of the day. Like he just got bullied, man. Like he just didn't have the size to compete at the catch point there, and I don't know. It's tough. Like he was in an okay position, but he's given up a lot of height and a lot of weight there to Tesla. Like that's a lot. Like I don't. It's tough. It is what it is.
Here's the thing too. He was in such good position, and he kind of like turned his head a little bit, and it's like he couldn't spot the ball quickly enough to make a play and then turn over back to Tesla and was trying and let him by. I mean,
underrated throw there. It was a nice throw on the back shoulder too. Not a perfect throw, but a good throw, right? Like on the right shoulder. Didn't make it easy on Cornell either. So
no, and it's one of those examples of throw the ball, let your wide receiver make the play. We were talking about the cornerbacks before. I do want to mention Cam Smith. We didn't see him in the game until the third quarter, and there was even the fourth quarter. There was some good and some bad. And the good was he had really, really good coverage on one play. And then he came up, had great coverage on a play on the 3rd and 1 where Hooker was scrambling to his side. Great coverage on his receiver. Then once Hooker takes off, he let go of the receiver, made the tackle. The play was nullified by an illegal shift penalty. And then there were 2 plays later on after the Dolphins kicked the last field goal to make it 24-17, where it was like there was a kickoff return where he was in the vicinity and could have like gotten involved in the tackle, and there was like, yeah, no thanks, I'm good. And then there was another play where it was kind of similar, where he was close enough to get involved in the tackle and wanted no part of it. And I found that, again, very, very troubling. And again, maybe that's just not who he is, but this is a guy who is scrambling to keep his roster spot. I don't know if you noticed the same things I did or not.
I missed this 2 specific plays you're talking about, but I think this goes back to the Ethan Bonner injury, right? Like we're getting to a point in the Dolphins cornerback room where like it might not matter if Cam Smith is the 6th best corner on the team. He might just be the 6th corner on the team, like it just might be what it is. So we'll have to see. I thought the coverage stuff was encouraging, though. I did see those plays. He has the ability, like he's a good athlete. His tape at South Carolina wasn't bad. It's just, can he stay on the field? Can he keep his head in the game? It's going to be, the Dolphins they'll take anything that he gives them as an excuse to keep him on the roster in some way. They don't want to give up on this player.
Right.
They really don't. And I don't blame them to a certain degree. I get it. Right now, I still don't think he's on the final roster, and I would assume you agree with me. But I mean, if there keep getting to be injuries in that room, he might stick as the last guy.
No, correct. And with Jason Marshall Jr. is another one, the rookie 5th-round pick from Florida. Again, there was good and bad. There was a play late in the first half where they gave up like a 27-yard completion, where I'm going to guess his responsibility was a little bit down the middle of the field, and my Lord, he was playing loose on the wide receiver. I think it was Jackson Meeks. Woof, that was loose. And it was way too easy a completion. It reminded me of the 13-second game, KC Buffalo in the playoffs, where, you're allowing everything in front of you, but, I mean, to a degree. And then he made a couple of plays against the run where you love the physicality. So, again, good and bad. I don't know that Dolphins have one like really well-balanced, good cornerback. I think Storm Duck's the closest thing to it. And then we shall see. I know you seem to like the work of the defensive line perhaps more than I did. To me, there were a couple of like really good plays here and there. The Jordan Phillips sack, if we're going to be honest, that was more Cameron Good, if I remember the play correctly, if that's the one I'm thinking of.
I don't think so. It was a coverage sack though. Hooker held the ball for a while.
No, I'm sorry. My apologies. It was Derek McClendon, who actually Hooker held the ball. He started rolling to his right, and McClendon pushed the offensive tackle far enough back that Hooker no longer had the outside as a running lane, cut back inside, and Jordan Phillips brought him down. That's the play. Good had another one, had the sack that they gave to may have been Zeke Vickers.
Right? Yeah.
No, and then to me, I saw like plays here and there. Kenneth Grant had one play on the 3rd and short where he completely stuffed the middle, forced the running back to go outside, and then Channing Tindall came in to finish it, or Jordan Colbert came in to finish it. And one thing I do want to say about Channing Tindall, and then I want your thoughts on what you like so much about the D lineman, is Channing Tindall came in, 4 or 5 times free through the gap. Had a really hard time closing the deal and making the tackle.
Yeah, Tyndall's fighting an uphill battle. That linebacker room looks like they got a top 4, and that's going to be what it is on the final 53. As for the D line, I think, what I'm looking for is just in these preseason games, I hate to steal the Mike McDaniel-ism here, but for me, it's process over result. I'm just looking to see, are these guys strong? Are these guys physical? Are they where they're supposed to be? And if the answer to those questions are yes, then I think it's a good rookie performance, right? Like, these guys are young. I think Kenneth Grant stands out from a strength standpoint against backups. I thought he was separating on the chest at will, stacking blocks, resetting the line of scrimmage. Some of the plays were to the opposite side, so it didn't really matter what he was doing. They were running away from him. It wasn't perfect, but I think generally speaking, he played well. I feel the same way about Jordan Phillips. Got into the backfield, with some quickness, stacked a bunch of blocks. He did his job. I think at the end of the day with Phillips specifically, he's a nose tackle, right? Like that's right. What he is. He's not, I don't expect him to get in on the pass rush. I don't expect him to be super explosive in the backfield. I just want to see him anchor versus double teams and stack one-on-ones. And I feel like you saw that from him in this game. Now, last time I checked the ESPN box score, they had him credited with 1.5 sacks. I'm not sure where the half sack came from, and they might have updated it since the last time I checked. He also got credited with a couple, or maybe like one quarterback hit or something. I didn't see that either, so that was a bit weird. I wonder if they corrected that, but I thought he played well. I thought he did his job. He's a nose tackle. He did his job well. And I think if you get a good, solid nose tackle in the 5th round, that's awesome. That's a huge hit. That's a monumental hit, actually, especially in a draft class where you only had 2 picks in the top 3-4 rounds. Sorry. So I thought they stood out from a strength perspective. We'll have to see when it gets to the regular season and they're playing against better competition, whether that continues. But for me, so far, so good.
Yeah, I will say this. I'm liking Jordan Phillips more and more after not necessarily being wowed over the first few weeks of training camp. I'm going to be honest. But lately, and I focused on the Dolphin defense at the joint practice on Thursday, and he was one of the few guys, as I recall, who did anything. It was a rough go for the Dolphin defense on that particular day. So in doing my instant takeaways, which you can read at MiamiDolphinsNSI.com, where all the content is free, whether it comes from me or whether it comes from Dante. One of my instant takeaways was, as we move forward, why would Ollie Gordon not be number 2 over Jalen Wright, who I still don't see it. And it's like, no, he's not getting great blocking in front of him without question. That's a fact. He also doesn't make, right now, I haven't seen him all summer make anything happen beyond what's there provided by the offensive line. Whereas Ollie Gordon, I saw break tackles. I saw make a couple of guys miss with some quick movement at or close to the line of scrimmage. So it's like, I mean, am I seeing things wrong?
No, I wrote that in my game recap as well. In the offensive recap section, I said, something along the lines of, I wouldn't be surprised if Ollie Gordon's RB2 sooner than later. The reason I was looking over to the side here was so I could pull up the box score on my other screen. Jalen Wright had 4 carries for 3 yards in this game.
It's not good.
It's not great. And he also had the fumble, which I think was obviously bad ball security on his part, but Tanner Connor also got blown up on the front side of that block. So not great all around. But Gordon just looks like he's got a lot of juice, man. He's just running hard, running downhill. He's made some nice plays in the passing game. He had another catch and run today. I mean, nothing crazy, but hey, that's something. You're the backup running back of wherever you can contribute. He's a bigger guy. I think with Alexander Madison out for the year, he's probably the short yardage guy too. So I would think they'll start the season with Jalen Wright at RB2. I don't know how long that's going to last though.
No, I agree. And to me, it's kind of striking. And this is a guy, again, I know some Dolphin fans had very high expectations coming into year 2 for him, based on partly on the flashes we saw last year and then the way that social media posts where he was like, muscle on top of muscle, like stupidly cut. But it takes more than that. We mentioned Tanner Connor, very active in the passing game, like 5 or 6 receptions. There was one I really wish he would have caught, particularly if he's a guy who's on the roster, not for his blocking. And as I tweeted, you're going to be receiving tight end. You're going to make that catch. It was a little bit of a high throw. By the way, on the play where Jonas Avainaya got beaten pretty badly at the line of scrimmage, and Zach Wilson threw the ball with a guy bearing down at his chest, and the ball was a little bit high, but massively catchable. And
I think that was Zach's best rip of the day, honestly, with pressure bearing down. I thought that was the best throw he made all day. And
yeah, you might be right.
Yeah, and I seem to be in the minority here, but it seems like you agree with me. I didn't really think Tanner Connor had that good of a day. I thought all of his catches were he's wide open in open space, and they put the ball right on him, and he turned upfield, picked up a couple extra yards. I thought he really struggled as a blocker, and then he dropped the only explosive play that he could have generated in the game. So I was not overly impressed with Tanner Connor today.
No, same here. To me, it was about volume or anything else. There was one really, really good block by a tight end in the second half. I couldn't make out who it was. It may have been, it was either Tanner Connor, Chris Myrick, or Hayden Rucci, and I couldn't tell you who it was. I wasn't able to catch the number, but it was a really nice clearing block on a run up the middle. What else there can we say about this game? Oh, and the other one too. I was asked this in a mailbag, by the way. Check it out. Part 1 of the mailbag was yesterday. Part 2 is today. Part 3 will be tomorrow because of the abundance of questions I got. And somebody on Friday asked about the punting competition and why they had 2 punters and was it really a competition? And to me, it was very, very uneventful in terms of anybody having a leg up for the punting job. But we'll be here all week. And then today, Jake Bailey massively outpunted Ryan Stonehouse. And when you factor in the fact that he's got the holding experience with Jason Sanders, and he's been a better directional punter than Stonehouse in their career, this was a big step for Bailey in retaining his job.
I agree. Stonehouse is kind of known as a guy with a big leg, right? That's kind of his thing. And Jake Bailey had a 59
He did.
yarder today, which wow, that was a boomer. So, and like you said, he's the holder for Jason. I think he held on all the extra points and the field goal today, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think I saw Stonehouse in there for a hold. Okay. Off the top of my head, if it was only one. So, looks like Jake Bailey, as you said so aptly, has the leg up right now.
Yep, and I'm looking here at the. Yeah, I mean, he had 2 punts at a net of 54.5 with one inside the 20. I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And overall, the special teams have been pretty good, other than the Eskridge fumble, which the Dolphins were able to recover. Nice job, Channing Tindall, jumping on the ball. Oh, I guess we should mention, even though it probably doesn't figure in the big picture at cornerback, even though he's not bad, is Ethan Robinson. And I'm not saying that just because he had the great play to win the game when – like he skied on that blitz.
That was an incredible play.
Right?
that was really good.
Yeah. No, and that kid's been good in camp. I mean, this coverage hasn't been bad. I have a hard time seeing him make the 53, but he's been representative and is easily somebody I can see on the practice squad if, again, he clears waivers.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. Like, I think he stood out more than B.J. Adams, the other UDFA corner. Right. So if you're keeping one, right now it looks like Ethan Robinson.
Yeah, and B.J. Adams brings you that great size and the athleticism, but he was in the concussion protocol for a while and really hasn't done anything like noticeable since he's been back. I don't even know if he got. In fact, I can tell you very quickly because it will be in the official game book if he participated. Yes, he did participate. By the way, very quickly before we jump to comments. Just in the interest of being thorough, I'll do it very quickly. This is a list of all the Dolphin players who did not play in this game. Tua, Bradley Chubb, Malik Washington, Tyreek Hill, Tyrell Dotson, Jalen Phillips, Jalen Waddle, Nick Westbrook-Akine, Jordan Brooks, Ashtyn Davis, Elijah Campbell, Devon Achane, Minka Fitzpatrick, Alec Ingold, Mike Hilton, Chop Robinson, Mo Kamara, Patrick Paul, Aaron Brewer, Andrew Meyer, Yodny Kajust, Byron Matos, Austin Jackson, Lee Meikenberg, James Daniels, Darren Waller, Julian Hill, and Zach Sealer. So that's the complete list. And then for those who were wondering what the starting lineup might have looked like on the offensive line, for example, with those guys out, it was Keon Smith from left to right, Keon Smith, Savainaya, Daniel Brunskill, Jackson Carman, and Larry Bourne, by the way, flagged 3 times for an illegal formation, one of which the official explained he lined up outside at tackle, then he moved inside, but he was at tackle, and it's still by rules. And I was
one of them was on the receiver. He should have been covered up. Okay. I think it was Theo Weiss who wasn't on the line of scrimmage. And so I think 2 of them were on Borum, one of them was on a receiver, but Borum technically was the flagged player.
Correct. Very, very good differentiation. But you remember the one where I'm talking about where he explained that, and I was like, I'm sorry, what?
The refs had their own version of a preseason game today. It was not a banner day for the officiating crew. And the Dolphins got called for less penalties. So that's not me being a homer. How many flags did they pick up? I had at least 3. No. The number might have been 5. I recalled 3. This isn't technically the ref's fault, but the instant, like the video, the new video review thing took forever. Both times they used it. That's not technically their fault, but it's someone's fault. So not a banner day for the officiating crew in general.
You're talking about the virtual measurement. By the way, if you've been following the All Dolphins podcast or following me on Twitter, you know I hate, despise, loathe, abhor instant replay because it kills the flow of a game. And I have said all along, if you can keep it to 30 seconds under the premise of if it's clear cut, you're going to pick it up very quickly. And if it's not, you can't pick it up very quickly, then it's not clear cut. Keep the same result. Outside of that, do away with instant replay. I'll be a happy camper. And the virtual.
My understanding is that the virtual thing, it will be quicker in the regular season. It's intentionally longer for the preseason. That's my understanding based off the broadcast.
Okay.
Well, is that true? We'll find out. We'll see.
I don't recall, in fact, when I attended the media, the officials session with the media, an instructional session with the media at training camp the virtual measurement came up as a question, and I honestly, maybe I wasn't paying attention, just like I did in school a lot of time or something, but I don't recall what the answer was, so who knows. Okay, we're probably at the halfway mark. As before we proceed to the comments and questions and thoughts from you guys, which is always important because we're doing this for you guys. Again, a big thank you for everybody for joining us here. And the reminder of please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And read the content on the website, please. MiamiDolphinsOnSI.com. Okay, here we go. And we're off. Daniel Barrios, thank you very much for the contribution. Becoming less enthusiastic about Jalen Wright.
That makes 3 of us, at least.
Noel is one of my favorites. Noel's just a good dude. Thank you very much, my friend. I realize missing on a draft pick is a bad look, but holding on to one because you can't admit that miss is a worse look. Yeah.
But I agree. And I think you were about to say the same thing. I think this is a special scenario in which the Dolphins cornerback room is so bad that I can accept that they're going to try to keep Cam Smith around in the event that Ethan Bonner misses time. It's just such a special case. But generally, I agree. Absolutely correct. You should be moving on from those mistakes.
Correct. And usually what happens and what you would hope would happen is if it's anywhere close, logically, you're going to go with the guy who you initially thought had something. Otherwise, you wouldn't have drafted him that high. But you would not or should not keep a guy over somebody who clearly can help your team more just because of the draft status. And this, of course, then it becomes subjective as to whether Cam Smith would be close to the next guy who would make the 53 or would be clearly below. So, I don't know if I should go from the top or from the bottom. We'll go from the top here. Whoa, a lot of comments here. I love that. Love that. Oh, go ahead, Dante. This one's all yours.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You can read it as well. Go for it.
No idea. Not even a clue.
Yeah. Mike, I agree with your point, though. It sounds like, very, very well articulated. Can't argue with that. Okay. Ghostface missed today's game. How'd Quinn do this game? 502 the comments. So you've been watching, so you've heard us say, yeah, he looked very, very good. And this is, by the way, before people start going, although Mike McDaniel kind of punted on the question after the game during his media session, saying something he didn't want to overreact that game. I've had such a ridiculously hard time believing that Quinn Ewers would leap Zach Wilson because he looks more comfortable, and he should because he's more familiar with this offense. But on the flip side, one of the questions in the mailbag was, or it showed up on X, was practice squad or cut for Quinn Ewers, and I'm like, no, he's making the 53. There's
No, he'll be on the 53. I think if you follow me and my work, I'm not a Quinn Ewers guy. I never have been, frankly. But there's also no harm into giving Quinn Ewers a chance to run with the twos in the last preseason game. I'm not saying I think it's going to happen. I don't see any harm because if you're Miami, you the backup quarterback position matters for you more than it does for other teams. Like I'm not opposed to turning over every stone in your arsenal to figure out if you have something better. So I'm not saying I think it's going to happen, but I would support it if they did, just in the sense of we're going to try everything that we have at our disposal to figure it out.
Let's also understand, very, very, very important point here. As good as Quinn Ewers look today, and maybe in the totality of the preseason once it's all done, and maybe you'll decide he has looked better than Zach Wilson, understand what he's seeing from opposing defenses is a hell of a lot different than what other teams are going to throw at him once the regular season starts. And they just I mean, it's night and day. And then this is
not even close to regular season football right now. Not even
correct. And Zach Wilson, for whatever you want to believe about him, has seen a lot more. Well, he's seen what that might look like. Quinn Ewers hasn't. And this is where you could get a rookie like massively over his skis, deer in headlights. What the hell's going on? So this is why, to me, this notion that Quinn Ewers could be a number 2, I'm not buying it. Sorry. To me, but he's locked into the roster. 0.3% chance he's a number 2 at the start of the season. That's me. Oh, Orlando, come on, Dante, you'll like this one. Check this out.
Dante, I need a cap. Give me a second.
No, hold on. So you could be Dante Speak.
Oh, I do have a cap though.
Okay, go for it. Better be an Expos cap. Oh, Texas A&M?
Temple University. That's where I went to school.
Okay. Yes.
I can get an Expos hat. I'll show up with an Expos hat for one of the podcasts.
Nice. By the way, I never mentioned this, but it's funny. I'm walking across the field in Detroit, spot David Furones of the Southwestern Sentinel. He's chatting up Channing Crowder, former Dolphin linebacker, co-host of the Pivot podcast, co-host of a radio show in South Florida. Lo and behold, he's wearing an Expos cap. I was like, Channing! Except he's telling me it was like actually brown, and he's telling me it was just to match the color of his outfit. To where I was like, okay, not as impressive, but still got to respect the Expos. Quinn was better than SW. I'm assuming you mean Zach Wilson. Yes, he was. Cam Smith needs to be cut. Watch the last drive by the Lions, starting with the kickoff. Smith makes a sissy swap at the ball as the returner runs by and also refused to tackle on a number of occasions. Exactly what I just said. You saw the same thing I did. And it was like, woof. Woof.
I'm not surprised.
I mean, look. Jeff, my friend, who tapped his knee. Sorry, I missed a name. What I saw that was Ethan Bonner when he asked out. Let's see what we got. I knew I saw Bonner pull up funny. Damn it, I thought hammy. You know what? I caught parts of. No, I caught the Mike McDaniel press conference, and we couldn't hear the questions. And he said hamstring about somebody. No, he said I think hamstring about somebody. He may have been talking about Ethan Bonner, and if that's that, okay. We shall see.
Preferable to a knee, probably.
Ooh. Smith was an embarrassment, especially as a second-round pick. Not panned out very well so far.
No.
Let's see here. I have to bring this up. DeMarcus, thank you for acknowledging that clown journalist from Detroit. You're the best of the four in the collective. Woo! T defense talk is terrible. I saw play-by-play. Debbie Dowder proved wrong. TD's a really good dude. Sometimes he likes to troll, but he's a good dude. And my buddy John, publisher of Detroit Lions on SI, is also a good dude. He's very excited about his team. Again, I don't know what he said about the Dolphins that was really so egregious. Maybe you guys can tell me. He's just very hyped about his team. And I think he's perhaps more of a fan than I am, because I've said it before. I'm on record. You guys know this. I'm a journalist. Not necessarily a Dolphins fan. And if, again, like I said before, there are many, many good fan podcasts all over the place. If I'm too quote unquote negative for you guys, I hope I'm not. I hope you guys like to hear it straight. Love to see D making plays. Were you a little scared as I was when he scored on his touchdown and he came up a little bit slow? And then did somebody point out that he was kind of like having a party with Ralph on the sideline?
Unfortunately, if you watch the Lions broadcast, you don't get to see very many replays of things that happen, and they kind of just act like the Dolphins don't exist. So if it wasn't for your tweet, honestly, I would not have known that Eskridge came up limping at all.
No, he did. He came up weird. I don't know if he was limping, and then because full disclosure, I mean, you guys know I told you guys I was flying back from Detroit after seeing the joint practices. I watched the game on the local Dolphins broadcast, and I saw it, and he got up like kind of slowly, and then they showed him on the sideline. I didn't see it, and I kind of could have sworn I saw a tweet where somebody saying, like I said, he was playing with Ralph on the sideline, if you catch my drift. It means he was throwing up. So don't know. But it was a little scary at first. Because it looked to me almost weird, like he was kind of weird. I thought maybe he landed on his shoulder weird, but obviously he came back in the game, so no issue there. EJ, keep all the R's on receivers. You can bet Wall and Reek are going to miss games. Go ahead, address that one, Dante. All yours.
I'm not opposed to them keeping 6 wide receivers. You can't keep all of the rookies because then you'd have like 9 receivers, and that would be a little bit too many. But I'm good with keeping 6 because I think you have your top 4, the guys who didn't play today: Malik, Nick, Waddle, Reek, and then I think D. Eskridge and Taj Washington have earned roster spots at this point. And I think you could also even talk me into Theo East being wide receiver 6. I would keep Taj Washington over Theo East right now, but you could talk me into that. It wouldn't be crazy. It would be insane. So I would keep 6 wide receivers, and I would try to get Theo East on the practice squad. And you have 7 in total, and I try to keep those guys because I think they've earned it. I think they're good players. If you're looking at solely who are the 53 best players on the Miami Dolphins, I think 6 of them are receivers, possibly 7. And they're not going to keep 7.
No.
But they could keep 6. So
they could. But there, by the way, there's one name you didn't mention there, and I'm curious as to why, if you just had not been impressed, but that's Eric Ezukama.
He's been better than normal, but I don't think he's been better than Taj Washington, and I don't think he's been better than Theo East. I don't think he's been bad at all. Like, I think he's had a fine camp. It's just a deep room. I think Eskridge has been better. I think Washington's been better. I think Weiss has been better. It's tough. It's tough. It's a deep room with a lot of young talent. It really is.
Okay, fair. ZW is not good. Need to go with rookie at number 2. I hope you just listened to this. By the way, this was early in this is what happens now. I'm checking out comments from earlier in the podcast, and I hope you just picked up on what I just said. The fact that Quinn Ewers has not seen what an NFL defense is going to look like in the regular season, and that's why it's dangerous to go with a rookie. Let's see what we got here. Guys, you guys got to give it up with Quinn Ewers. You guys got to give it up with that. Jordan Phillips going to be special. Ewers about to be back up. No, he's not. Ali Beast, maybe. Grant a stud. Too soon to say. This draft was amazing. Dude, they haven't played one regular season game yet. It shows promise at this stage of the year. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again,
I agree. I mean, I'm a total Jordan Phillips guy. That's my dude. So
I know, but again, can we wait?
It's early though.
Can we wait until they played one regular season game?
No, we can't.
Okay.
No, not allowed. You got to make all your takes right now. You're going to be held to them forever.
As much as I've disliked much of Grier's decision, I must say that last year's draft class and this year's are his best work. It's looking very promising. I will give you that. Chop looks like he's going to be a complete stud. Patrick Paul looks really, really good. Who else? Mokamara. By the way, Mokamara, for those wondering, stayed back in South Florida for this trip. He says he got put into the concussion protocol in the last practice on the day they were flying to Chicago. Malik Washington looks like an absolute keeper. Taj Washington, there's something there. Patrick McMorris, I'm not sure he makes a 53. Taj Washington, there's something there. And then who am I missing? Am I missing anybody?
I don't think so. Not from last year.
Okay. So there you go. Quinn committed every cardinal sin a QB could make. I have no idea what you saw that I didn't see.
It depends on your definition of cardinal sins. I mean, he did throw the 1 pick 6 that was dropped. Technically, he was late over the middle a few times if you really want to nitpick. So I don't know. Depends on your definition, I guess.
Yeah, we love to nitpick. I didn't see anything egregious. I thought
I don't think so either. I thought he played well.
Noel, again, my friend, thank you very much. Did you see any Detroit players that won't make their 53 that you would poach? Oh, absolutely. And I did I put this? I actually put this on X. Absolutely. Nick Whiteside, cornerback, first-year player. Don't ask me the school. He came from the UFL. And I was jotting down. I was watching the Dolphin offense on Wednesday, and it was rough. And that dude was just plastering Dolphin receivers all over the place. Pass breakups. He had a pass breakup today, I think, against Weiss over the middle. I'm claiming him if the Lions wind up, and he's the Lions cornerback room. Their whole secondary is actually pretty deep. If he winds up being waived, I'm absolutely claiming him. Saginaw
college for Nick Whiteside, Saginaw State.
There you go. which is in Michigan.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, that kid was like, there's something there. And even if you remember the play where Weeze almost was getting touchdown number 3, once Wilson rolls out to his right, he had one receiver at the pylon, and that guy was plastered by Nick Whiteside. And Weeze wound up being covered by 35, whose names, hold on, I have my trusty Lions roster right here. I will look it up.
There you go.
Tyson Russell. That was who was covering Weeze on the last one.
Yeah, on your note about the Lions secondary being really deep, they had 10 pass breakups in this game. It's a lot of pass breakups.
No, I mean, you look at their cornerbacks, DJ Reed, former Jet starter, Terrion Arnold, former first-round pick, Amik Robertson, who become a really, really good player. Yeah. They picked up Rocky Yassin, the former longtime Colts cornerback. They've moved him to safety because they're not already good enough at safety with
also a former – Here's a fun Rocky Yassin story for you.
Temple.
Really, really quick. He went to Temple. I went to Temple's pro day the year that he graduated, and they kind of let the media roam because it was pre-COVID, and he almost ran me over because I had accidentally walked into a drill and I didn't realize it. I was an 18-year-old reporter. It was like my second live event ever. So I was just like, my head was spinning, and he almost like completely ran me over. So anyway, that's how I met Rocky Sid. Nice guy.
Yeah, it came close to being your last live.
Yeah.
Greg, the receiving group is going to be a tough one. Like Eskridge and Weeze and Washington has become as good, but he's been around and hurt for most of the time. That's kind of as what we were discussing.
Yeah, completely agree.
Courtney pointing out Channing always wears different hats. Yes. Are you suggesting I don't always wear different hats? Is that what you're trying to say? Okay, you're right. Weeze instead of NWI, 0 chance.
Yeah, no.
If you cut Wilson, you save $6.7 million. No, you don't. Why not cut Wilson? No, you don't. Let me double check because I think most of it's in the signing bonus. So no.
While you check, why you don't cut Zach Wilson is because you do need backup quarterbacks. They do have to be on your roster at a certain point. And the Dolphins, if any team in the league, needs them more than others. They made a gamble on Zach. You just got to see it through. You just do. It's the situation they put themselves in. They made their bed. They got to sleep in it.
Yeah. Okay. As I'm looking it up, Zach Wilson's current cap number is $2.2 million. If they cut him, his cap number goes to $2.2 million. They don't save anything. They've already paid him a $4.8 million signing bonus. So as I was saying, they're not cutting Zach Wilson. So his contract is basically 1 year, $6 million. Most of it is in signing bonus. Cheap dog pile on Cam Smith. Where was the lie, though? Where was the lie? How is that?
I said he was talented. He is.
And I pointed out that he didn't want to get his hands dirty toward the end of the game. And again, tell me the lie, and then I will say my apologies to Cam Smith. But by the way, this is great. The linebacker from Detroit needs to watch his word. He won't because he's a talker. But did you notice the guy was returning kickoffs?
Yes. Yeah, might be the most fun linebacker in the sport. I don't know if Dolphins fans want to hear that, but that rocks. That's really cool, man. A ton of respect for that.
Did you also notice he was involved in a play where Keon Smith, who had a rough time with was it Isaac Uku, the edge defender for the Lions, got beaten twice for sacks. One of them was negated by a face mask penalty against Tanner Conner, who was going out on his route, and it was against number 15 Grant Stewart. So. I am not the one. Flip you dude selling out in the preseason gets you hurt. I'm glad Cam realizes the value in the chaos of the preseason. Ooh, flip you dudes. That wasn't the word you were trying to say, right? Sometimes the cognitive dissonance astoundings, really. So in other words, you're displeased with our commentary over there. Dude, my partner, Cam Smith is a guy whose roster spot should not be completely secure right now, who needs to show the Dolphins he is willing to do what it takes to make it as an NFL player. You're going to tell me that now is the time to be like, no, I'm not going to. I'm going to get involved or risk getting injured. Are you serious, really? You serious with me right now? Okay, I'm done. I mean, holy moly. Please tell me you feel differently, Dante, or...
No, I mean, I thought, Cam flashed. He had a couple nice plays in this game. We mentioned them. He had a couple of, I didn't see the kickoff plays, I'm being honest. So that's, it is what it is. Cam Smith's been on the roster bubble for weeks. This is not a reaction to this game. I wrote a story 2 weeks ago about why Cam Smith was on the roster bubble. I wrote another story earlier this week about why Cam Smith needed to have a big game because he's on the roster bubble. So this is not a new storyline. Like, we've been here. This is where Cam Smith's at. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and there's a big difference between being reckless with your body when you don't need to be and getting involved in the physicality of the game. And so I never advocate for somebody, like, for example, I've said before, like, Tua throws a pick, you can run off the field as far as I'm concerned. Again, there's the cost benefit, but I'm sorry, your cornerback getting involved comes with the territory. Asante might give KJ Britt a run for his money. No, he won't. With all due respect, KJ, again, and I like Asante, he's a good-looking kid. He's a practice squad candidate. If he makes a 53, I'd be shocked. Made the only way, by the way, because you mentioned this, it's Channing Tindall being the fifth when they're going to keep. They kept 5 last year. If you recall, it was David Long Jr., it was Jordan Brooks, Duke Riley, Anthony Walker Jr., and Channing Tindall. So if they keep 5 again, your top 4 are set.
I don't think they're going to keep 5. That's why I think, because you have to, if you want to keep 6 receivers, it's got to come from somewhere. Yep. You want to keep an extra offensive lineman, it's got to come from somewhere. You want to keep a third quarterback, it's got to come from somewhere. Agreed.
But this is where, again, you have to make the decision of which players do I want to risk exposing to waivers. That's number one. Number two, where is the difference when you get to the last roster spots, the difference between the last receiver you keep and the first one on the practice squad? What does that look like? Does it matter if it's 2 guys on the practice squad? Those are all the decisions that come into play when you get to 53. I could see, if you were to tell me Asante is going to make the roster over Channing Tindall, I wouldn't tell you that's crazy. He's not getting any snaps over KJ Britt. Sorry. And again, Asante looked very, very good. He's playing against 3s. That's the difference also. Not a journalist when wearing a sports team hat. Oh, you got me now. Ooh, you got me. Shame on me. Here you go. I'm going to put it away. And now am I a journalist? Seriously? Really?
You actually can't root for any teams when you're a journalist. You're just not allowed to watch sports at all.
No, this is where I would make the argument that if I were wearing a Dolphins hat, which would please a lot of fans, that would make me less of a journalist and more of a fan. If I'm wearing the hat of the team I'm covering. This has what to do with the Dolphins or the NFL.
Correct.
Okay. I hate these types of broadcasts. I get that here from hockey. Oh, you're talking about the feed that you got. Well, here's the thing is in the preseason, depending on where your market is, you'll get the feed from one or the other. If it's a national game, you'll get the feed from the home team. Like, for example, those who watched the Bears game on NFL Network got the feed from the Chicago broadcast. So here's another boost for Eugene Asante. He looks like he's going to be really good. He's a sleeper, in my opinion. Yeah, he does look the part, and he's a thumper and all that. Again, he's a rookie free agent who was playing against 3s. This is where no. What did you think about this guy? Champlin looks explosive also. That's a running back worth keeping around. What do you think?
I thought he looked explosive. I don't know about keeping him around, but yeah, I mean, it's clear that he's got a little bit of juice, like he really blew through the one hole in that big run that they had. It was like, 1st and 20. He got like 30 yards or whatever. So yeah, I mean, showed some nice juice. I don't know about you. I think they keep 3 running backs. I don't know that they keep a 4th. I probably wouldn't. Maybe you can get Champlin on the practice squad. I think he's still eligible. You could try that.
They have the exemptions now for veterans, so the experience doesn't matter anymore.
Okay, well there you go. I would maybe try to get him on the practice spot, but I think there's 3 on the 53.
Okay, that's been my feeling, unless Shankland blows him away in practice and in the preseason games. But yeah, no, he did look really good on that run. This is interesting. I want to address this. Where the hell is Dante Trader? Dante Trader was injured for quite a while, came back maybe last week, this week, and he's a guy who gets involved. I kind of like what I see. He had one play against the run where he came in from the outside, helped stuff a running back. I think there's something there. And it could very well come down to either him or Patrick McMorris, who was a draft pick last year for the last safety spot. And right now, I'm not so sure that Trader isn't the guy. Yes, no, maybe, yes.
No, sounds right. Sounds right to me. I think I had a little bit of lag there. I was behind you, but yeah, no, it sounds right to me. I think safety is going to be interesting. Is Elijah Campbell banged up, or was he sat today as like he's banged up? Okay, so
well,
I mean,
but he's been starting, so kind of
that's why I asked. It was kind of interesting, the safety room in general, right? Because Ifeatu Melifonwu played like pretty deep into this game. Typically, if you expect a player to be a starter, now obviously maybe he just needs the reps because he missed the first couple weeks of camp. So a lot of all to say, there's a lot of moving parts in the safety room. I don't know that room is really solidified very much. Ashton Davis still injured, although they've kind of hinted that he should be healthy before around week 1, right? Like they haven't said he's going to miss extended time.
They haven't said anything about it. No, they haven't said anything about his status for a while, actually. In fact, we need to do it.
But when he went down, they weren't like, no, it's not like a long-term injury, if I remember correctly. Like they
said it's not season ending, is what Mike McDaniel said.
But they said not season ending. So a lot of moving parts in the safety room. We'll see. I don't know. I think it's interesting that Melifonwu played deep into today's game.
No, I agree. And it's on my agenda this week when we speak to Mike McDaniel to ask him the week 1 status of Austin Jackson. That's not been discussed since he got injured.
Yeah.
And then Ashton Davis would be another one. Elijah Campbell, if you remember, like hurt his knee in the game against the Bears.
Right.
And lo and behold, he was at the first practice against the Lions, which was obviously great to see. I don't know how much work he did, though, in any of those joint practices, but technically he was a starter before, which may have been why they kept him out, or maybe they still want to take it easy with him. So, I love this. It's from my buddy Jeff. A name drop for Dante for a future article. I know he has in the works. Pickups after the cuts at 53. Holland Pierce, 2025 left tackle prospect, got free training from the Eagles, plus Jason Kelsey during the summer. I have never heard of that name.
Rutgers product, Holland Pierce. I want to look something up real quick. This is a big man, a large human. Real quick, 6'8", 342, coming out of Rutgers. Absolutely gigantic. So there you go. I think I had a 7th round grade on him this draft cycle. So yeah, I mean, who knows? It's not a bad shot to take. There's tools.
Okay, well, there you go. There's a future assignment for you. Here's the thing. Yep. Cash 6262 Weeze Jr. has to be kept around any way we can do it. The only way you guarantee yourself keeping him is putting him on the 53, and I don't know that the Dolphins are going to do that with the other receivers they have. And then after that, they're kind of at the mercy of any team wanting to claim him off waivers.
Yeah.
Oh, see, there you go. Jeff just says, Alain is 6'8", only heard good things, crowded room. Okay.
There you go.
This is a good one. Does Grayson Murphy and Zeke Biggers make the 53?
Oof. Those are tough ones. They really are. I think the Murphy one, I think, is ultimately going to come down to whether the Dolphins want more pass rush insurance or better special teams work, right? Like, because I think Murphy is probably the 4th best pass rusher on in the edge group, right? It's Chop, Bradley, Jalen, and then Grayson. Quentin Bell's a nice run defender, so I think it makes sense, obviously, that he's pretty secure in his roster spot. So if they keep 5 edges, I think it comes down to, do you want Grayson Murphy's burst off the edge, or do you want Cameron Good playing on special teams? Last week we did the podcast. I had an answer. I said it was Cameron Good. Dude, it would be tough for me to try to pass Murphy through waivers, man. He's got a lot of juice, and he can really bend the corner. It'd be tough. I almost feel better about passing Cameron Good through waivers. So It's a tough one. I don't know.
I agree, but to me, my only concern with Grayson Murphy is he's a specialist. And I saw kind of the same thing with Derek McLendon today, where they're pass rushers first, and I don't want to foremost, and I don't want to say only, but that's the focus. And sometimes, like there was a play very, very early on, there's a wide receiver who's coming right in front of Derek McLendon. Might have been the first snap of the game. And McLendon is making his beeline to the quarterback. And like, to me, like, I don't know, maybe throw a shoulder into the receiver as he's coming across, considering he's within the 5-yard limit. You're allowed that pop, and you disrupt the play. Instead, he gets free across. It's an easy completion, and I don't know how long the gain was. And then Grayson Murphy, at times, I've also seen him like so focused on getting to the quarterback.
Yeah, no, he's not. He's not a run defender, but he can rush the passer, man. Like, I don't know. Like, it's tough. It's going to be tough. I would keep Murphy, but it's easy for me to say that because I don't have to worry about things like special teams like that. You know, like I don't have to worry about that. The Dolphins do. So it'll be tough. I don't think Murphy gets through waivers, though. I think if he doesn't make the 53, he gets snatched up. I'd be shocked if he got through waivers.
No, that'll be, that's one of the, those last edge defender spots is one of those tough decisions to make. So let's get only a few. We're past the hour mark. 600 of you fine folks on here. Let's take a couple more and then we'll wrap it up. Let's see what we got. Edge rusher over special teams player I saw from Hefe. That's great, except if he's your edge defender number 5, and then he plays 5 snaps on defense, then no, it's not worth it. Trade Murphy for a cornerback from KC. Again, this is where I would caution against, and I've seen this before, I would caution against overvaluing what those guys would bring on the trade market. Because I've seen that before, and it's like...
I think people underestimate that there is a reason that players are available this time of the year, whether that is via trade or free agency. Guys are available this time of year during roster cut downs for a reason. That doesn't mean you can't find good players during roster cut down. It doesn't mean you can't hit on a late free agent signing. It doesn't mean everyone's going to fail, but why would a team trade for Grayson Murphy is another question to ask yourself. Like, legitimately, like if the Dolphins are trying to trade him, it means he's probably not going to make the 53-man roster. So if I want to get Grayson Murphy, the only reason I'm trading for him is if I feel like I'm buried on the waiver claims and I'm not going to get him, right? So, like, it's tough. I know everybody wants cornerback upgrades.
Yep.
Frankly, I just don't know that you're going to find a great one right now. You might find a marginal one. Is Stephon Gilmore better than Storm Duck right now? Like, maybe, but I'm not 100% sure, if I'm being honest. And so I think you have to ask yourself why players are still available this time of the year, why players are on the trade block during cut down.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. With vested veterans, that's guys with 4 years or more of NFL experience, understand if they're on your roster in week 1, their salary's guaranteed for 2025. Which will keep certain teams from making a move for those guys until after week 2. So there can be special circumstances there. When it comes to waiver wires, and I did like a really long project on this, and I have to see if I can find it. Maybe I'll resurface it at some point. And I hate to be that guy because I'm accused of being negative, but it's not negative. Those are facts. The odds of nailing something on the waiver wire and picking up a guy who's going to become a major contributor, I mean, it's microscopic. Yeah. And the Dolphins hit the jackpot with Zach Sealer. They hit the jackpot. But that is for one Zach Sealer. I'm going to give you 50 other players who you'd never heard of, and they were picked up off waivers by the Dolphins. Okay, it's just very, very, very rare because, again, they're cut and they're on the waiver wire for a reason. So, okay, I think we're going to wrap it up. Any final thoughts, Dante?
I think the interesting part about this conversation I think it's good that we're having this many debates about which players make the Dolphins at the end of the day. I think there's been a lot of negativity about the team's roster in general. I think they have position groups where they are really, really deep and have some nice young talent. And so I don't think it's all doom and gloom with this roster. Like we're sitting here legitimately debating the merits of Channing Tindall and Eugene Asante. Like that's good depth. Like that's a good sign. Same thing in the receiver room. Same thing at running back. I think on the defensive line, we skipped over Zeke Biggers and if he's going to beat out Matt Butler and Ben Stilley, but that's good depth, right? And so that's what stuck out to me about this conversation. And I think some of that came through against the Lions as well.
Okay, very well said. No, again, it's better to have difficult decisions to make than it be pretty clear cut because your 54 through 70th players just aren't very appealing. So
yeah,
there's that. So again, Dolphins beat the Detroit Lions 24-17 at Ford Field. Not that what matters. What matters to me most, first and foremost, the quarterbacks played eons better than they did at Chicago. Ollie Gordon looked like a stud at running back. Very, very impressive. D. Eskridge had a very nice game. Theo Weiss Jr. had a nice game. The rookie defensive linemen had their share of plays. Jake Bailey had a huge game for those who care about punting. And that pretty much wraps it up. Thanks, as always, for joining us for the live post-game recap. Please like, subscribe, share all that good stuff. Check out the free written content from Dante Collinelli over here, myself on Miami Dolphins on SI.com. Not planning on doing a podcast on Sunday, taking the day off unless news breaks, in which case check your notifications. Back on Monday. And until then, enjoy the rest of your day.